Tonight, you look at the ocean from far away and you feel peace. You see calm blue water, you see small white waves, you see a quiet sunset. But 1,000 years ago, a Viking looked at that same water and saw something else. They saw a giant monster waiting to eat them alive. They did not sail the ocean because they loved it. They sailed it because their cold, hard homeland gave them no other choice. Picture yourself standing on a muddy shore in Scandinavia more than 10 centuries ago. The winters here are cruel. They are long, dark, and freezing cold. The ground is rocky and stubborn. It gives you barely enough grain to feed your family through the hard frosts. Behind you stand tall, dark pine forests. Deep snow covers the ground. Sharp mountains rise beyond the trees. In front of you is a huge, roaring ocean. The water is gray and freezing. Hidden rocks wait under the surface. Sudden winds can flip a boat in seconds. You know the truth. If you stay on land, your village may starve when the next hard winter comes. If you build a ship and row into the unknown, you might drown in a cold, dark sea. But you might also find green land, gold, and a new life. There is no easy choice, only a hard one. So you begin to build. You gather oak wood, cut from strong old trees. You gather iron nails, hammered by the village blacksmith. You gather thick wool, woven by the women of your family, to make sails and warm clothes. Piece by piece, a ship takes shape on the shore. You carve the front of the boat into the shape of a snarling sea serpent. This carving is not just for looks. You believe it will scare away the evil spirits that live in the deep water. The day comes to lave. You push the heavy wooden boat into the icy waves. You climb aboard with 20 of your strongest kin, brothers, cousins, and old friends who have sailed with you before. You have no compass, you have no paper map, you have no glass window to keep the cold spray off your face. All you carry is a carved wooden sun compass, a clear crystal stone to find the sun through thick fog, and your own sharp senses. That is all, that is everything. The first days are calm. The sea rocks the ship gently, like a cradle. You almost forget to be afraid. Then on the fourth day, the sky changes. The sky turns the color of charcoal. Rain begins to fall, first in drops, then in heavy sheets. The rain soaks through your wool cloak. It soaks through your leather boots. Soon, your feet turn numb with cold. The ocean lifts your longship high, toward the clouds. Then it slams the ship back down, into deep, dark valleys of water. You grip the wooden oars. Your hands are already bleeding and covered in hard calluses, but you do not let go. Every wave that crashes over the side of the ship threatens to fill it with freezing water. You and your crew bail water for hours. You do not stop, you cannot stop. If you slow down, even for a moment, the ship will grow heavy. It will sink to the dark bottom of the sea. Nobody speaks. There is no time for words. There is only the storm, the oars, and the buckets of water. In the Viking mind, this ocean is not just water. It is a living, breathing giant. You believe that beneath your feet lives Jörmungandr, the massive world serpent. This serpent is so big that it wraps itself around the whole earth and grips its own tail in its mouth. When the sea rages like this, you believe the great serpent is twisting in anger. You believe its huge body is churning the waves, trying to smash your tiny wooden boat like a toy. You look down into the dark water and imagine terrible sea beasts hiding below the surface. Every shadow under the water looks like a giant mouth, open and waiting to pull you down into the icy dark. Old sailors on your ship whisper prayers to Njord, the god of the sea, and to Thor, the god of thunder. You ask them for safe passage. You ask them for one more day of life. The storm passes, but the hardship does not end. For weeks you eat only dried fish and stale, hard bread. You drink sour beer or rainwater, saved carefully in leather skins. Your skin turns raw from the salt in the air and water. Your bones ache from the endless rocking of the wooden deck under your feet. Sleep is almost impossible. The rain does not stop, the wind does not stop, the ship does not stop moving. But even in this hardship, you and your crew must find your way. You have no map, so you read the world around you instead. You watch the flight of birds in the sky. Birds often fly toward land, so their path can guide you toward hidden islands. You taste the salt spray from the sea. If the water tastes less salty, you may be close to a river mouth and land nearby. You smell the wind carefully. The scent of wet pine trees or burning peat smoke tells you that a shore is near, even before you can see it. Some nights the sky is clear and you look up at the stars. Your grandfather taught you their aims in their paths across the sky. Tonight, they are your only guide through the endless dark water. Then one gray morning, something changes. Out of the thick mist, a dark shadow appears on the horizon. At first, you think it might be a trick of the fog or another dangerous wave. But it does not move like a wave. It stays still. It grows taller as you get closer. It is not a monster, it is land. Tall sea cliffs rise up from the water, dark green with moss and grass. You and your crew pull hard on the oars, fighting the strong currents near the coast. Slowly, the wooden keel of your ship scrapes against a pebble beach. You step onto the shore, your legs shake after so many weeks on the rolling sea. You fall to your knees on the wet grass, and for a moment, you simply breathe. You have survived the great watery void once again. Not every voyage ends this way. Some ships never return, some crews are never seen again, and their names are only spoken in sad stories by the fire. But when a Viking does return home, they carry more than furs, gold, or new land to farm. They carry deep scars on their skin and a deep, quiet respect in their hearts. They know, in a way that words cannot fully explain, that the ocean is a place where human strength means nothing against the fury of nature. No sword, no shield, no strong arm can command the sea. It gives and it takes exactly as it pleases. At night, around the roaring hall fires, these sailors tell their stories. They tell their children about giant serpents beneath the waves. They tell them about crushing storms that turn the sky black in an instant. They tell them about the dark, watery afterlife that waits at the bottom of the sea for sailors who are not careful or not lucky. The children listen with wide eyes. They will grow up knowing the sea is not their friend. It is a force to be feared, respected, and when the time comes, faced anyway, because sometimes there is no other choice. Tonight, you look at the ocean from a safe distance, and you feel peace. You see calm blue water, small white waves, and a quiet sunset. The ocean does not scare you the way it scared the Vikings. You have engines, radios, and maps that show every rock and current. You have weather reports that warn you of storms days before they arrive. But somewhere deep inside your mind, an old fear still lingers. It is a small, quiet shadow of a time when the sea was a giant monster. It is the memory of a time when survival meant one thing only, rowing straight into its open mouth and hoping, with everything you had, that you would row back out again.